That's saying something. Good afternoon or good evening, ladies and gentlemen, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to a conversation with. I'm your humble host, Floyd Marshall, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, Philadelphia's own Christopher Mann. Now, if you've ever watched The Wire, Law and Order, Michael Clayton, House of Cards, so many television shows, Homicide, Life on the Streets, which was absolutely one of my favorites with Yaphet Kotto. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, man.
Amazing actor.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So,
Mhm.
ladies and gentlemen, again, I am joined by the one and only Christopher Mann. Philadelphia claims him. And I know he was born somewhere else, but Philly claims him. So,
Chester, PA, man. That's Philly
yeah,
too, man.
that's the Philly's younger brother.
Yeah,
But welcome to the show, Mr. Mann. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm real good. I appreciate you having me, brother. I really
Well,
do.
well, yeah, you know what? It's I've been a little remiss because you should have been on here a hell of a long time ago. You and Mr. Wilson. So I'm gonna have to get the both of you on here together.
Oh, that would be great, man.
I'm gonna
That's my
I'm
boy.
I'm
That's my
gonna
boy, man.
oh my yeah, I'm gonna definitely have to get Ball on here. We can all sit down and chop it up.
For sure.
What it's like working in Philadelphia. But again, your resume is extensive. It
Mm,
is extensive. And ladies and gentlemen, for those who are now watching and for those who will be watching in the future, if you take a look at his background, that is a 25-year journey of Mr. Mann in the business.
wow.
So, Christopher,
Yes.
where and how did this start?
Mm. Well, I'll go all the way back. It's funny because I ran into a gentleman who I knew who owned a store when I was a kid in Chester, as a matter of fact. And he was very influential with the children. Like, he was an inspirational guy, and he always asked, "What are you going to be when you grow up?" He always, poked and prodded to see if he had ideas. And he said he told me as an adult, he remembered me telling him that I wanted to be an actor even when I was a little kid.
Mm,
I didn't even remember telling him, but he told me, "Yeah, you told me that when you were a kid." So it had always been in the back of my mind. As far as when and how to pursue it was a whole different story. I mean, my life, I didn't come from a privileged background, man. It took me till I was an adult, early 20s, when I actually started taking classes, when I could work and pay for the classes myself.
mhm.
Um, the idea of going to school to learn it and whatnot was just not in the cards for me. You know what I mean? But I've always been an artistic individual. Um, the arts always. I mean, when it comes to drawing, singing, all of it, I'm pretty well rounded with arts, man. And like I said, once I got to a point where I could actually take classes, I started with commercial classes. Then I took scene study classes. Then I studied with theater groups. Then I drove to California 4 or 5 times. Well, actually, 4 times back and forth. So that's 8 trips. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just digging, grinding, getting all the work in, man. Studying with different casting directors. I actually studied with a gentleman by the name of George DiCenzo for 5 years. He was a Yale drama graduate, and eventually along that course, you find your voice. I mean, I started with the about Philly with Mike Lemon and all the other cats.
Yes.
I did all of that. Went to New York, Actors Connection, and then One on One out in L.A. I mean, I've been up and down and all over the place, man. Just digging, trying to figure out, trying to find my voice as an actor. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
a lot of people think you can just jump in and go at it, but you really need to get some roots and work on the craft, man, and know who you are, find your voice in it.
Okay. So you started with commercials.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
that's interesting because most people, when they say I want to be an actor, they automatically jump into film.
Hmm.
So why did you choose commercials?
Well, I mean, it was a thing. I just want to see how well I did in front of the camera.
Mhm.
What because like I said, if you understand, like I said, my humble beginnings were really humble, brother. I mean, I was talking to somebody recently. I was telling them I remember when I was 2 years old, man. I remember we lived over top of a drugstore, man, that was rat infested. You
Mm.
know what I mean? And I remember, having to be in the projects after my parents separated, and there's a lot of turmoil that I went through as a kid. So coming out of all of this, and my mom dying when I was 13, and all these other things, it was like, okay, I just want to make, I didn't know if my feet were going to hit the ground. You know what I mean? It was, it's almost like being in the tornado. You know what I mean? So coming out of it's like, okay, I'm at a point where I want to try this. So let me just see, let me try something easy. And I think that's easier than actually getting into the whole, diving all the way in. It's like getting in the pool in the shallow end. You don't
Right.
want to dive in the deep end without knowing exactly what you're dealing with. So I started with the commercial classes. John Barth is actually the person I started with. He was the original Tiny Bowl man.
Oh, really?
He used to give classes right in Philly, as a
Oh,
matter of fact.
wow.
Yeah, so I started with him and felt good with that, and then moved over. I said, let me do, see what the real film and scene work was all about. So I went over to Mike Lemons and started taking classes with them, and then George DiCenzo, and then other groups. I mean, like I said, that's when I started going to New York. I started going to LA. I mean, I really went through the gamut trying to figure out what it is I needed to do and who what I need to find out, the information, and then incorporate who I am with the work, because you have to bring yourself to the project. No matter how much studying you do, nobody's going to do what you do when you have the material in front of you. You have to
Right.
bring yourself to the work. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's very interesting that you should say that, because I was thinking about, I don't know why I was dropping. Well, I'm in the business. I was thinking about a few actors a couple of days ago: Denzel, Halle,
Hmm.
Ryan Reynolds. And one thing that struck me was Tom Hanks.
Hmm.
They're the same in
Hmm.
everything.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that amazing? Kevin Costner's another one. You know what I mean? Exactly. I know exactly what you mean. They find it. A lot of times it's the industry that actually kind of holds you.
Hmm.
Like De Niro actually stretched out and did a lot of stuff that was not the same. You know what I mean? When he
Hmm.
did the Frankenstein stuff, and he does all the gangster roles, and he'll stretch out and do different things. Gary Oldman's another one who does stuff like that.
Hmm.
Gary Oldman is a pretty well versed individual. Whatever they
Hmm.
give him, he can go and become somebody totally outside of his realm.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and I'm always hope that I wouldn't get pigeonholed into a particular thing. But like you said, but see, like what happens, what you're talking about is that these people, they, like I said, they bring themselves to the work.
Hmm.
So when you watch them, you can see that authenticity and who they are. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And it resonates. And writers and producers go, oh yeah, that's what I want in my project, because I like the essence that they bring to that project, because they know what they're going to get from them.
Hmm.
I mean, so that's why that holds for a lot of them.
Yeah, but you know what? I've watched a few of the things that you've been in, because you've been in quite a few things,
Hmm.
and you bring that same quality.
Hmm.
So does that speak to the amount of training that you've done, but also does it speak to you being comfortable with who you are after such a long career in
Hmm.
this, that, as you said earlier, you didn't know if your feet were going to hit the ground, but now that
Right,
your feet are firmly planted.
right.
So does is
It,
that why you're kind of
yeah,
that way as well?
yeah, it's a combination of both. I think, like I said, when I will take my hat off to George DiCenzo, his class, because I really found my voice working with him. I mean,
Mhm.
I did well with other people, and you grabbed all the information, but working with him, it was all right. So like, in class, a lot of times you'll sit there and listen to a critique of other people's work, and you're sitting there, and you get up and do your stuff too, but when your instructor is giving a critique on somebody's work, giving them pointers and things they need to do to tighten up their scenes and work on them, and you can answer in your mind what he's going to say before he tells them, that's when okay. You understand what I'm saying? Because he's the master of the class. All right, this guy's, he's done Broadway, he's Yale drama graduate, he's done the whole gamut. And when you can critique a scene that he's going to critique, and in your mind you already know what he's going to say before he says it, then you already know you got your answers. You know what I'm saying? You know that you're rooted, because
Right.
you're not sitting there going, oh, well, I didn't think of that. No, you're already on top of it before he even says it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? There was a time when there came a point at that 5-year period when I could sit right there, and everybody that went up to work, I knew exactly what he's going to tell them
Mm.
for their work. You know what I mean? So you find your voice, you understand the connection of the material, and how what needs to go into it to bring out more from the scene than what's on the page. You know what I mean? It becomes second nature. You know what I mean? You know how you riding the bike, you know what I mean? You first
Right.
you got to get your balance, The next thing you know, you're doing tricks and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So after a while, you get to the point where, yeah, man, I can do this with no hands. I can do it backwards. You know what I mean? But it becomes second nature. So but like I said, nobody's going to do it the way you do it, though.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to bring to it is not what this other person's going to do. No, I mean they've studied this, that, and the other, but their personality, their experience, their life experience, and everything else has to come into it. But like the point you were making earlier, you still have to be comfortable in your skin at the same time, because without that, there may be areas that you don't reach that some people may be able to see and some people may not be able to see. It all depends on who's watching. But other people, yeah, go ahead.
So I'm sorry. No, please finish your point.
No, I was going to say, I mean, it all depends on who's watching the material. I mean, two people can sit and watch a movie and they come up with two different aspects and two different points about the material they just watched. And somebody will pick up real intricate stuff that the other person totally misses. You know what I mean? So, my thing is to do what's not on the page, as well as deliver what is on the page at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's years of experience, and along with the training and everything else comes full circle for you as an individual. That's for every individual.
So when you got to that point in George's class, did you arrive at a point where you said, okay, I've gone as far here with him as I possibly can? And then did you move on to someone else? Because it seems like he did his job and basically taught you everything that you could possibly learn from him. So
right.
Did you stay with him longer after that, or did you move on?
By the time the 5 years came, I started to venture off a little bit, and I took other different theater groups that I got with and whatnot. But the truth of the matter is, working with individuals on a set, that's where you get more education. You know what I mean? When you fortunately, I've been blessed, man. I mean, you see the cast members I work with on The Wire. I work with George Clooney. I work with Clive Owens. I mean, I've worked with, Tika Sumpter. I work with, I work with a lot of people who are, in the game, the A-listers, and working with them on top of what you've learned on your own. I mean, it just culminates, man. And it's really about the material, because if you have a role that really resonates with you and you're feeling it, man, I mean, you just can't wait to dive in. It's like, and things happen, magic happens. You know what I mean? You don't try to lock it in before you get on set. You try to get it tight enough so that when you get there, the lines are all there, and the scenario, and you're ready going to it. But now let's let it work, because when you get on the set, you don't know what the other actor is going to bring. You know what I mean? They're going to bring something that might be totally different, which will change your response. Not necessarily the intent, but the response might change, the way you're going to deliver the line and the whole nine. So, you have to be open and ready. You know what I mean? It's like molding. It's like creating. And that's what I love about about this whole process.
So let's talk about that for a second, the process and the fact that you've worked with some pretty major people, as opposed to an independent film set, the energy, and as you said, what you're learning on sets with major actors. So what would you say to someone just coming into this business, if by some chance they get an opportunity to play alongside or even just be in the same scene with a Tika Sumpter? Because when the camera's not rolling, some actors are sitting around twiddling on their phones as opposed to learning. So what would you say to someone just getting in this business, but they have an opportunity to actually be in someone's presence like that?
Well, it's a free class. It's time for you to pay attention. I mean, as actors, we we study.
I hope y'all caught that.
It's a free class, man. I mean, you're sitting in front of somebody who's a master at what they do. Why would you not pay attention, especially if you're still in the learning process and trying to get yourself together? So you sit there and watch their process. Everybody has a different process, but there's some things that people will do that will resonate. Go, oh wow, I like that. I have to do that next time I get ready for a scene. Because man, I'm gonna tell you somebody I saw preparing for a scene, man. And when I say she goes deep in, man, Lynn Whitfield, man. And when we did the North Star, And there's one scene where she had to deliver this speech, man. And I saw her go to the side, man. And when I say she went deep, and she was like in it. It was like, wow. I'm sitting there watching her go, wow, look at her, man. She did more work getting ready for the scene than she did in the scene.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But it's interesting. I mean, but that's what you. I mean, as actors, that's what we do anyway. We study human nature. At least I know I do. You know what I mean? Because you see people, you see things on the street, and you go, wow, that's crazy. But then you have to think about the mindset of the person and what they're doing and what caused them to go there. You know what I mean? And if you get a script that has a scenario where your character is in that predicament, and now you can go back to that and go, oh yeah, okay. You know what I mean? You have to really think about it. Like what would take me there? What would make me fine? Or what would make me do that? Or what would make me back away from doing that? You know, it's a lot to it. It's just life, though. It's like I said, it's spontaneous. It's spontaneous.
So you're on a set.
Mm-hmm.
You have the script.
Right.
You've internalized all the lines, and
Right.
and what you just talked about with the fact that, okay, I'm going to make this decision or that decision,
Mm-hmm.
and depending on what your scene partner brings, have you ever had an issue with a line, and you're saying to the scene partner, director, whoever's directing the scene, I'm not feeling that. I'm thinking the character would react this way as opposed to that way. And if so, how did they take that?
That's a great question. That's happened before. As a matter of fact, the movie Loving.
Mhm.
Okay. If you saw the movie, there's a scene where, because I played Ruth Negga's father in the movie. Her and Joe Edgerton got married in D.C. and came back that night to the house where they stayed in the back room of the house, and the police came to get them because it was illegal and somebody dimed them out before they got home. So the scene where I come to the back of the house and I hear this ruckus. So I come to the back of the house to see what's going on, and I see the cops are going in, getting ready to arrest my daughter and her son. And I'm dumbfounded, lost for words, because I knew it was, in the back of my mind and in my heart, I knew this wasn't a good idea for them to do this. There's just the whole racial tension and the whole nine. So I said, oh God. So I'm standing there and I'm watching the whole thing go. And you can feel the pressure and the tension on the father because he's kind of hopeless. But I had mentioned to the director, Jeff Nichols, several days before we shot it, because I had read the script over and over, and I was like, wow. I said, as a black man, and these people are in Virginia, and my family, I said, I got family from North Carolina. We're not far from there. So I said, as a black man who lives in a house with 2 daughters and a wife, that must be my email.
I think that's you. I think it's you.
Yeah, that might be mine. But anyway, so I didn't want to shut it off. But anyway, I was saying, oh yeah, so as a black man living in the house with a wife and 2 daughters in the country, and he has a ruckus in the back of his house, he would, to me, and I know my uncles and I know all my family from the South, they come in with their shotguns first
Of course.
to see what's going on. They're not going to just walk to the back of the house and say, hey, no, they come in with a shotgun, and the cop, the sheriff or somebody's gonna have to talk that gun out of my hand before somebody gets hurt. So I brought that to the director, and he said, well, let me think about it for a second. So he came back to me maybe a day or so before we shot it. He said, hey, look, I think your instincts were absolutely right, but it would take too much to have everybody relearn their lines and redo the scene for that. So they decided to pass on it, but he thought it was absolutely, I know. And, but it was, but I was speaking from my experience. Like I said, you bring what you know, you know what I mean? It's like, this is what would have happened. It's no way they would have came into that house and he just standing there looking like lost. I mean, it's his house, first of all, you know what I mean? Look, who's in my house?
Yeah. Let's side note for a moment, folks.
Okay.
Ain't no man in America, I don't care if, excuse my French, I don't give a fuck what color you are. If someone is coming in your home
in the middle of the night
and you don't know who it is, you're grabbing something. And especially if you're protecting your family, because I'm a father myself. I have 2 children. I have 2 girls. They're grown. I have a wife.
Right.
So my first instinct is I have to protect what's mine.
Right.
Now, again, like you said, after you find out who it is, oh, it's the police.
Right.
And we are where we are. I have to stand down.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
initially, I'm not gonna, oh, it's just you guys.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
see, that's an issue that people have when someone other than us is writing about us.
Woo, woo. Well, yeah, you're going there, and I mean, I understand exactly what you're saying. Trust me, brother. Trust me. I was thinking it the whole time. I was like, oh man, that's, ugh. I
Yeah.
don't know how many people picked up on it when they watched it. You know what I mean? I mean, the movie's been out for years now, so I can
Mhm.
talk about it now. You know what I mean? But yeah, but I really wanted that to change just somewhat, because I mean, let the black man have a voice in the
Right.
situation, not just stand there and watch the whole world step on him. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the way it felt watching it, you know what I mean, or doing it even. It's like,
Mhm.
dude, I'm coming like this, cuz what you want?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
anyway.
because even I remember the scene in Malcolm X
Uh-huh.
when his father, when the Klan comes to the front door
Mm,
and they throw the Molotov cocktails at his house,
right.
and he is in the deep South,
Yeah, bro.
and he comes out with the shotgun, and he's like, "I'm a man." He's like, "I'm a man. I know what could happen to me,
That
but
says it
guess
all.
what?
Mm,
Even if it happens to me, you're going to know that I'm a man
yeah,
and that you had to take this from me.
that's
I'm
right.
not handing it to you."
Right. Exactly.
But it is what it is.
Yes, it
It
is.
was their film. It was their money. They
Yeah.
can do with it what they will. But I did not see it because I have to be in a certain frame of mind
Oh,
to
okay.
watch certain period pieces.
Oh,
But from what I understand, it was a phenomenal
it was
film.
a great movie.
So I heard the story on how that came about. But please share how you ended up getting that role.
Oh, oh boy, this is funny. When I first got when my agent first came to me with the project, it was listed as a low budget independent shooting in Virginia. I mean, as work is concerned, I mean, a lot of low budget independents are shot right here in Philadelphia, and if they don't have a budget, then it's a lot of on me to get back and forth. I was like, I told her, I said, I don't think I want to be involved. So she came back to me and said, "Oh, they really want you to put yourself on tape and send it, and they just want to see you." So I recorded the audition, sent it down. Then she said, "Oh, they want to have a call back with you." So I'm like, "Okay, who are these people?" You know what I mean? It's a low budget independent. Like, why are they being so persistent? So I go online on IMDb and I start checking information on it. And then when I saw that, I guess it was under a new production company, but originally Martin Scorsese's name was on the project. So I was like, duh, this okay, all right. I don't know who the people are who it is now, but if Martin was on it originally, this can't be you know, low budget independent. That's
Right.
what I'm thinking. So then I pulled it up and I saw Jeff Nichols' name on it, and I read up on him. I was like, oh, this guy is good. He's doing great work. And so I said, okay, well, let me do the callback. So I did the callback with him. We did what you call it, FaceTime type thing, and we talked and everything. And he said, "Hey, look, I really like your read. I think you'd be great in this. We just need you to come down so we can still." I said, "Well, look, I hung up the phone. I was like, I'm on my way." So I went down
Mhm.
a few days later, and I get there, and Ruth Negga had just came in from England and whatnot. And uh, from what I could tell, I didn't even have to read. It wasn't even about. They just wanted me to see me in person. So I went
Mhm.
down, met her and a couple other cast members, and that was it. I mean, but it was like, and I tell people a lot of times, sometimes when things are meant for you, you can't
Mhm.
even walk away from it when you're trying to walk away from it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the door opens, man, and you fall in.
Mhm.
Like, it's not that wait and praying. It's like, I was really like headed the other way. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
was, yo, this thing is dragging me, and I was blessed to be a part of it. I thank Jeff and all the producers and everybody for that, man, because it turned out to be an excellent project to be a part of.
Yeah, and it was historical. And what's interesting because I watched your interview with Rolanda. Man, you are
Mm.
hard to find on the internet.
Am I?
Man, I usually like to research, the people that I'm interviewing.
Hmm.
And boy, you are a Where's Waldo type of dude. I'm
Am I
like,
really? I didn't
Chris,
even realize. I didn't
Chris,
even
you,
realize it.
you need to do more interviews, man.
I've
'Cause-
got a few out there though. Actually, I really do. I had what was it, Black Magazine? a couple. I did a few of them. I'm gonna have to get the links together, man. I don't know
Yeah,
how it's showing up, man. You know what I mean?
because I could not. And here's the interesting thing, and then we're going to get back to this film. I
Yeah.
actually read an article about you, and
Oh,
they were saying he's been in this business for a very long time, but we can't find anything on him.
yeah. So I remember seeing that somewhere too.
And I was like, "Well, yeah, that's pretty true, but it is what it is. But it
But it
is,
was crazy. You know what I mean? And it's I don't understand it either. I mean, you know what I mean? The work's out there. You know what I
right.
mean? I don't understand. I don't know what I got to do.
It's not the work.
Yeah.
It's not the work that's not findable. It's
Okay.
your interviews.
PR.
Yeah, yeah. That was, and I mean, and I'm putting in all Christopher Mann's every which way I could, and I'm like, I can't find nothing on
Oh,
this, you know.
I'm sorry.
But that's okay. That's okay because I'm learning a lot tonight.
Okay.
But
hmm
you do loving, and how was the reception for that?
It was great, man. It was great. I found it strange that it got like it was one of the it wasn't like a broad release though. You know
Mhm,
what I mean? It was done like in bits and it wasn't like a big national release. So I don't think it got
mhm,
the audience that it deserved.
mhm,
Um I know people now who are still probably just watching it for the first time,
mhm.
several years later. And because it just didn't get that, that PR, that push that I thought it deserved. I mean, I was glad for Ruth. She got nominated as for Oscar for her performance in it.
Wow.
That which was great. But I think that if it had got just a little bit better push, man, I think it would have really, really done even greater than it did.
So she gets nominated for an Oscar, and usually when a film, now correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've seen over the years, usually if a film or someone in a film gets nominated for the Oscar,
Mhm.
even if it was out, they, kind of re-release it and give it another push because now you have an Oscar nominated performer in the
Absolutely.
film.
Absolutely, absolutely. Don't, brother. This is outside of my lane. What I mean? Maybe above my pay grade. I don't know
Okay.
what it is, but I still scratch my head about that, man. I'm like, wow.
Hmm.
It's almost in some degrees, it almost reminds me of The Wire. Like it didn't get its claim until after the last season had aired. Now all of a sudden, it's the greatest show that was ever put on television. It's just, it's like it's that afterthought that happens with it. It's like, yo, this thing is going on at the moment. The people who watched it were like on it like drugs. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I can't wait till The Wire comes on. But it didn't get the acclaim. They only got one Peabody Award for all of those seasons. They got no acting awards or anything.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Wait a minute. That was one of
yeah,
the best shows to ever. And I'm
absolutely.
not just saying that because we're friends. I mean, every week, my
hmm
wife and I, we were there for The
Right.
Wire.
I know
Um, so you mean to tell me not one person got an award?
for acting or anything. Just that one Peabody Award for writing. That was it. Out of all the 6 seasons or 5 seasons. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that is absolutely amazing. But since we're talking about it,
hmm
how did you get on that show? Because that's back then I was actually acting. I had a manager,
hmm
um, but I could never get on that show. I don't know. I guess I didn't have the right look. But how did you get on The Wire?
Uh, casting call again. Got a call to come down and read. It was a different process because in retrospect, you look back and you realize that they had us come in. A bunch of us going in to read for the mayor for this season because that was
Mhm.
season 3 that I came in on. And so we really think oh man, we're reading for the mayor on The Wire. This is going to be great. Little did we know that Glenn Turman was already cast as the mayor.
Hmm.
What they did was they just read enough people to see who they could put into this political arena and then pick from whoever read and just place them where they felt that they would work. Um, I read, um, I think, gosh, it was a good period of time before I actually got a call. I thought, usually within a week or two, you're done. You say, okay, I didn't get that. But
Mhm.
it was a long period of time. I can't even remember how long it was now, but a long period of time had passed. And I finally got a call saying, hey, the people from The Wire called. They want to know if you'd be interested in this possible reoccurring role. Come on, man. It's The Wire. That's it already been on for 2 seasons. Yeah, I want to be in it. You know what I
Let me
mean?
check my schedule. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You feel me? Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I'm sitting here now waiting for the phone to ring. You know what I mean? Didn't notice I answered it before it rang. You didn't know that? You didn't notice that? but but anyway, so yeah, I went down and the role of Councilman Tony Gray turned into 12 episodes, man. It's like 2 seasons, worked on 2 seasons. That was beautiful.
That was that was an amazing show. So
Hmm.
what was it like working on that set? Because I understand, with you guys being in Baltimore,
Hmm.
that they actually brought in some real live um, people
Yeah.
from, different walks of life.
Yeah, I mean, it was yeah, a lot of the people that, especially a lot of the characters who were on the street,
Mhm,
the gangs and the drug dealers or whatnot. Quite a few of those actors they brought in were straight from the street. Like
mm,
Snoop, Felicia Snoop. You know what I
mhm.
mean? Michael K. Williams gets credit for bringing her to the producers and getting her into the show. It was quite a few. It was a lot of people. It was uh, it was a great experience, though, man. I mean, because I mean, here you want to talk about a training ground, man. You get in there and you get the set, man. You see what it's like to think you have all the material, and you go through the rehearsals, getting ready, and you find out you got a page and a half that you didn't get. Now you got to go change and get your clothes together, get the makeup on, and now be ready with the scenes that you already had, plus the other page and a half that you didn't have and ready to shoot. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's, this is time is money. So you got to be ready. So, I mean, it really tests your ability to be flexible and prepared. You know what I mean? Yeah, that was great. I mean, and it's actually paid off, years later. I mean, I just did another series that I worked on recently. Same thing happens. They first 2 episodes, they changed a bunch of my lines.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I'm already up. Let's go. Oh, they changed this. Or you get in the dressing room and they put pages down and you see the handwritten lines change that you got to change. And then out in the back of your mind, you go, oh man, I thought I had these lines together. Now you got to regroup. I mean, the only good thing is like the scenario doesn't change. So as long
Right,
as you got the scenario down and you know what's happening, the lines will come. You know what I mean? So if they change them, it's like, okay, I just got to change this. But I don't want to I don't want to make it seem like it's just a real easy thing to do. But I guess
right.
after 25 years, it's like, okay, I got this though. That's good. Let's go.
So how do you do that? So you've memorized everything, and then they
Mhm.
say, "Oh, hey, Chris, well, here's a whole page, and all those lines have changed. So your lines have changed, but and I'm also thinking that the person that you're playing opposite, their lines have changed. So not
Sometimes,
only do you have to
some,
learn sometimes,
sometimes it's not their line. Sometimes it's just your line.
really. So
Yeah.
now, so how does that work? So how do you prepare for that? If you're saying, well, I just got these new lines and it's time for me to go out on set
Right.
and I have to deliver these lines. So how much time are you normally given to learn the new lines?
It all depends. You might get lucky. Sometimes it's just maybe a half hour to 45 minutes, maybe. Because like say if you're rehearsing and they say, okay, we changed this line and they give it to you. Now you got to go back and finish going hair and makeup. So now you got paper in front of you while you get, you're getting dressed, you're getting hair and makeup, and you're in the mind, you're running these lines the whole time and you're replacing the ones that you had. And just, it's about maybe 40, I get maybe 45 minutes. Sometimes you get lucky. Now, sometimes they'll have a rehearsal and they'll break and you'll go to lunch
Hmm,
and then come back after lunch and then shoot the scene. So sometimes you catch a break, and then if the lines have changed, that's really enough time because now you got over an hour or so. You know what I mean? You
okay.
got an hour and a half, maybe almost before you go back and do it. I've had an instance. I have an instance where I was working on a scene. I went in to rehearse a scene and realized I had rehearsed the wrong scene. That wasn't the scene we were getting ready to shoot.
Hmm,
I was like, oh man, but I worked my way through the practice, got it through, and then had to go back and get the other scene that I had in my mind. I had to let that go,
hmm.
jump back on a new scene that I realized we were doing, and then get all those moments and beats down and the emotion and everything, and get ready to go back out there and deliver that like I was already ready to do it. And
Wow.
but it happens, it does, and it's fine. It's good. You know what I mean? It's good, man.
So wow. So what particular part, or does it all come into play? Your training to prepare you for something like that? For all of the, for all of the new actors or the intermediate actors that are in this game, and they
Hmm.
happen to get a shot on a television show or a film, and that happens to them. How important is preparation as far as studying this craft so that if you do run into that situation, you're prepared for it?
I think it was studying is definitely the key to it. I mean, and particular, like I guess that's why I think a lot of theater actors feel comfortable with it, because they're in theater and the lines are changing all the time, and they're doing, everything's on the cuff, you know what I mean, and they're learning and da 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 da, and then, in a play somebody will change a line just because they want to get a laugh out of a scene, and now you got to fall back in and act like it was natural without falling out of character, so they get used to curveballs being thrown at them. So theater is great for an improv type of thing to help you, stay in character without falling out of it. As far as if you're just doing film and television, it's just a matter of experience. It's a matter of being around long enough to deal with it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Um, I mean, well, in studying too, though, if you're taking classes and they do improv classes, or or you're doing a scene and the instructor allows you to play with the scenes, or just play with it. Give me something different than what you already got. So then now you're still delivering the intent, but now
Right.
they give you a license to create it a little differently than what was already written. So all those things culminate into being, allowing you to be flexible when you're actually on a set where money's involved,
Mhm.
and you want to make sure that and then you got the whole crew who want you to get it right, because they don't want to be late night getting home because you screwing up the lines. You know
Right.
what I mean? So
Okay. So let's go back to the beginning,
okay.
to one of my favorite shows, Homicide: Life on the Street.
Oh wow.
How did you get the audition for that? I mean, so first of all,
Yeah.
who was your agent?
Well, actually, that one I got on my own. That was a self
Wow.
submission back. See, that was back. See, now you going back to 97, 96, 97, and the internet wasn't what it was, and everything was stapled together. Headshots with resumes stapled on the back, and you sending out 50 to 100 mailings every week trying to get it, on a hustle. You don't have a representation. You got whatever skills you have, and you're trying to sell it to somebody. You know what I mean? So I self-submitted for it and got a call, and went down to Baltimore. Baltimore's been very, very good to me, by the way. So I go down there. Pat Moran. I read for the role, and they called me for a callback. I went down, did the callback, and they booked me for the role. That was actually my very, very first Screen Actors Guild production that I worked on.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had a 3-day guest star, which was, that was like, the cream of the crop for a young, starting out, man, for your first piece, because
Right.
it paid for my SAG card and
Okay.
everything. You know what I mean? Pete Medic was the director on that one, man. And I remember I actually went through some stuff on that set, man. Matter of fact, I met Yaphet Kotto working
Mhm.
down there, and yeah, another good friend of mine that I work directly with in the scenes, Eric Dellums. He's a really good friend of mine too. And I remember I think it was February. We're shooting this scene, and my character gets shot, and he has to lay on the ground and had squibs on, and I'm wet, and it's February
Mm.
on the ground. I was laying out there for a very long time, man, and I think I might even got frostbite.
Oh, wow.
And Michelle Forbes, who's a beautiful person, man, she got a little upset. She's like, "Hey, y'all got to take care of this guy. He's freezing down here." So
Mhm.
she voiced her opinion about what was going on, and I guess because like I said, this was my first gig, so I guess I was a must join after I did this, so I wasn't quite a SAG actor
Right.
yet. You know what I mean? So the care and concern really wasn't there yet because I
Oh, he
didn't
ain't
have
nobody. He all right.
yeah, right. So, but I owe her a great big thank you, because they ended up having to put me in a room with a hot tub so I could get my yeah, because I was messed up, man. I ain't
Oh,
gonna lie,
wow.
I was freezing, man. That was crazy. But hey, man, that was my burning sand story for for SAG anyway.
Damn. Okay, so you came in hard.
I came in hard, man.
Okay. So wow. But that's a war story. So it's interesting because I'm sure when you listen to, some actors of today or over your career
Mhm.
and they're talking about their trials and tribulations, you're sitting there saying, man, I was on the ground wet in February. So I'm not even I'm not trying to hear that you missed your Uber ride. I don't want to hear that.
Exactly.
So let's fast forward because you did some amazing stuff. You did House of Cards.
Mhm.
You did, Michael Clayton, which was
Mm.
an epic film
Yeah, that was great, man.
with one of the best actors out there. And it's interesting because I remember when George Clooney was, oh gosh, when he was doing like the teen shows. I'm
Mhm.
I'm aging myself,
I know what you mean, huh?
and then I think was it Saint Elsewhere or was it Grey's Anatomy?
I think it was Saint Elsewhere.
Saint Elsewhere, yeah, he was on. Yeah, so I'm going way back,
Yeah.
but working on those type of films, and it's always interesting, ladies and gentlemen, when you see someone on a film like that, because you're sitting there and then he pop and you're like, oh shit, that's such and such, and everybody's like, that's who? I'm like, I know that guy. That is, but you know what? That is one of the best feelings in the world
Mm,
because
mm,
when you see how hard people work,
mhm.
and then you see the fruition of that work. I mean, sometimes I'm just so happy because I'm saying, see, they put in the work and that work pays off. So, what was it like being on set with George Clooney, or just being on that set overall?
Oh man, it was fantastic. Now, I actually, and a lot of people don't know, but I actually did a scene with him in Ocean's 11 that got cut. So this was the second time I had a chance to work with George,
Oh
and
wow.
and when I first got on the set, I walk in and he's sitting by there's a bar in the room where we're in, and he comes in, he said, "Hey, how you doing, man?" I said, "Oh, I'm hanging, man." He said, one more job closer to the big one, or what? I said, "Yeah, something like that." So I reminded him that I had worked with him on Ocean's 11. He actually remembered the scene, and for me, it was like, okay, you know, what I mean, how you think, you say where thoughts go, energy flows, right? So I'm an individual. I have already claimed that this is where I'm supposed to be.
Mhm.
Okay, so when I get to the set, it's like, okay, you know what I mean? It's time to get this in, you know what I mean? Because I have to try to compliment this man's work. I already know what he's going to do.
Mhm.
But now it's time for me to prove that I can step with him and let's get this scene out the way. So I'm feeling good. I felt good. Um we had 2 days. We worked on it. I worked on it for a couple days, and the second day I was there, though, my brother passed away. My oldest brother passed away,
Mhm.
and I had to. We were actually shooting a scene, and we were ad libbing the scene with our phones, because there was no dialogue in this part of the scene. So he said, "Just open up your phone, and we'll, show me the pictures, and we'll just, play it off." I said, "Okay, we do that." So that's the only reason my phone was on.
Mhm.
And we stopped for a break, and my nephew called and gave me the news. So I was out in that hallway just kind of pacing for a minute, and I had to have one of the PAs go tell the director, Tony Gilroy, that I had a death in the family, and it's funny because George and I had been talking about family and just different things that the day before at lunch. Really chopping it up, having a great conversation.
Mhm.
And uh, when when George found out what happened, he came out to me out in the hallway and offered to let me go home. He said, "Look, if you want to go home," he said, "I'll shut the set down and we can come back and shoot this another day."
Wow.
Yeah. And bro, like I said, I can tell that I tell this story countless numbers of times. I guess somebody's going to think George is sending me money for this this promotion, but I'm not, man. It's like it happened, and I can't to this day, thank him enough for that kind of generosity on the set, man. It speaks to his character in droves. It's like it's unbelievable. This guy is, it's a great individual, man.
Yeah, and it has shown what he's made of, and you can even see that today with all of the work that him and his wife are doing.
Right, right,
Because
absolutely.
they are champions of
Yes, man.
humanity.
I'm trying to.
So
Yeah.
you know, sometimes people will do things for the likes,
Hmm.
or so somebody can say, "Oh, wow, you know, you really good, you did that." But then you
Right.
have some people that genuinely care
Right.
about other people.
Yeah.
And when you run across people like that, dog, if we got to be on set for 20 hours, we're gonna get this in, because the fact that you extended that to me,
Yes.
you know, it
Yes.
just it let me know
Oh,
that you definitely have my interest in mind. So whatever you need, I'm here for it.
but and that's what I told. It's funny you say that because I told him. I said, well, look, I really appreciate it. I said, my brother knew I was coming here to do this.
Hmm.
I said the situation that happened is going to be there. I mean, because it's going to be we got funeral service, all that stuff. It's going to happen when I get there. I said
Right.
I'll stay. I just let me walk this off for a minute. Let me get my group, regroup, get myself together, and we can finish the scene, and then I'll be on my way. You know what I mean? So but I really appreciated it, man. I just it kind of blindsided me almost like, wow,
Yeah.
okay,
And
yeah, but
that's rare.
yeah, it is. It actually absolutely is. It
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah,
Especially when you're talking about a major motion picture shutting down production. Because
yeah.
if people are not understanding what
Mm,
that's like, I'll
mm,
just liken it to if you're on an assembly line at Ford and somebody comes in and says, shut it down. We
mhm.
ain't making no more cars today. That's money.
Yeah, I mean, think about all the background and the makeup people, everybody who was there to get everybody ready for that scene that day.
Right.
And now he's going to shut that down. They got to come back and do that all over again. They got to pay him for the time they were there anyway.
Mhm.
But now they got to they got to regroup or go to another location and start some over and then come back another day and shoot that. That's a lot, man. That's ridiculous.
But you know what that also speaks to?
Mm,
That speaks to the massive amount of pull
mm.
someone has,
Yeah,
that they could say,
yeah,
we're shutting it down.
yeah,
Okay, sir. And then
yeah,
that's it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But when I will say, like him and Tony Gilroy, another great individual. I worked with him several times anyway.
Mhm.
Too. I did that. I did Duplicity and The Born Legacy too. So those are three films that Tony did. Wonderful dude, man. I really like working with him. He knows what he wants, man. It's just it's really good when you're working with folks that you can see they really got their act together, man. I mean they know they know their art, they know their craft, they know what they want, and
Mhm.
and and you just want to you just all you want to do is make sure you do because I'm doing what I do. I mean I'm a perfectionist in my own right,
Right.
but to be in a company with folks like that and be able to lay it in there and then they appreciate it. I mean Tony told me on two of those projects, he said, man, you should be working all the time.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So when you hear somebody in that category in that list to tell you, hey, you need to be working all the time, and that's just confirmation. Not that you didn't, not that I needed it,
Mhm.
but it's fuel in the tank. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it's like okay, woo, that's another stamp of approval.
So with that,
Hmm.
because you're on the East Coast,
Hmm.
had you ever considered a move to LA?
Several times, like I said, I drove out several times and stayed like 6 to 8 months at a time. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Trying to get my feet on the ground, but because of family situation, I got 4 kids, and you know what I mean, and they were really young then, and I was trying to balance it, man.
Right.
I didn't want to put them out there and change their whole lives around, and so I tried to. I tried, as my uncle said, I tried to make a home run with one foot on home base, and it's caused it to be somewhat of a serious grind though, because
Mhm.
it's harder to do it that way.
Right.
I mean, even to the day, I mean, now I might consider it even more so now since everybody's grown.
Right.
You know what I mean? But productions are everywhere now. You know what I
Right.
mean? The one thing I do find though is that a lot of the major productions still are based out of New York and LA. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Atlanta has its own hub, is doing their own thing. Um, and one thing I say that I like about what I see going on there is that they do allow local talent to get significant roles out of there. Like whereas other areas, like even in Philly, productions come here, but significant roles aren't offered to the local talent.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So, but I see that happening in Atlanta, which I tip my hat to them for that. But the major role players in a lot of those projects are still out of LA and New York, though. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You know, so those are still the so-called meccas of the entertainment industry when it comes to acting.
Yeah.
You know?
So again, you've been in this game for 25 years
Yeah, man.
consistently. And you've done some things. You did a film that I truly loved and was in our film festival, The Kidney,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. What
which
definitely is behind. Yeah,
yeah,
we
that was
yeah,
amazing movie with Rachel Ofori, a
yeah.
phenomenal young lady,
Hmm.
and just a good group of actors. So what do you think has led to your ability to be in this industry for that long and
Determination,
working?
determination, good support system. My wife has had my back all through this, man. And I don't know if I don't, if it was anybody else, I don't know if they've been able to stand by me the way she has, man. So
Mhm.
I appreciate her more than I can even express, man. I mean, she's my, and, during, well, even before the pandemic, she's my reader. Matter of fact,
Mm.
we did an audition a couple hours ago right here in
Okay.
this, and she's my reader. And I told her, excuse my French. I said, you are fucking good. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Because she's got to pick it up and read the other lines, and she drops right in, man, and she gave me just what I needed for the scene. Because like, if you have a reader who can't deliver the intent and the emotion just through the read, then
Right.
your response is not organic. You know what I mean? So she was able to she's able to do it so well now. Now, if you put the paper down, she's done. She's like, long as she can hold the script and deliver, man. I look, man. I don't think I could have anybody else be my reader anymore. You know what I mean?
Wow.
She's gotten really good, man. I mean, 25 years. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes, and yeah, and I was yeah, and basically she's learned right alongside you.
Oh, bro. I mean, there's been sometimes I'll read the script, man, and I might miss a beat or something that she go, oh, you didn't. I was like, oh wow, you caught that. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's like so that makes it even better. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
now I got somebody that's watching and may see something that I don't see.
Mhm.
That's even more important for me. You know what I mean? Because like I said, you want to deliver everything that's there, but sometimes everything doesn't always hit you right away. Sometimes it's like a late response. But she'll read and go, oh no, did you see that? Oh wow.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, let's do it again. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because
Yeah.
she now understands the nuances of a script
Right.
and the pacing and everything, and it's
Mhm.
just like my
Oh yeah.
wife, because I've
Mm.
been doing this for 18 years.
Okay.
And my wife was a reluctant participant. But when you're sitting there and you're studying films and we're watching movies and I'm telling her
Mhm.
this and I'm telling her that,
Right,
over
right.
the years, we would be sitting there and she said, "Did you see that?
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
hear that?" Because they naturally
Yeah.
they pick it up.
Yes, they do.
They pick
Yeah,
it up.
yeah.
So we're almost done. And this has been absolutely phenomenal because I'm sorry, go ahead.
I want to thank you also because your festival that our film was in, I actually got an award there too. I appreciate that,
You sure did. And that was a well-deserved award because that was an amazing role. And since it's been a couple of years, we're gonna talk about that
man. Okay.
because
All
we
right.
had a chat about that. Because when we did those particular awards, that was a vote by committee.
Mm.
And we all, because it was myself, Angelique, Keon,
Mhm.
Kia, I think we were the main four, and we all watched, and then we all watched the other film, um, starring Ving Rhames,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
we broke those films down.
Mm.
I mean, we went scene by scene by scene, and
Wow.
then we really broke down, the role that you did, then we broke down the role that he did, and
Mhm.
man, we were up to like 3 in the morning. Because
Wow.
we had to get it right.
Oh man, I
We
appreciate you.
really had to get it right. And I was so damn happy when you won that. I gave you a kiss on the cheek. I don't know if you remember, man. I hugged you and gave you a kiss on the cheek. I was so damn happy. But it was like,
Wow.
the fact that you and Ving Rhames were up for a daggone award.
That's crazy. That's crazy, man. I appreciate y'all, man. I really do, man. All I do is I do what I can. I put
Right.
what I can. Like I said, I bring what I can to the project, man. I'm feeling it. I felt that's like it's a good role,
It
and
was.
yeah, it was a good role, man. And I got to show some layers in there too. You know what I mean? It was different things happening with me, and that going through watching my nephew and his process with the kidney transplant and all that was
Mhm.
a lot, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, that
And
was good.
that,
I enjoyed that. I
yeah,
really
and
did.
that score was crazy.
Oh, that was nice, wasn't it?
That
Yeah.
score was crazy. But before we get out of here, I just thought of that you were in the film. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of the film, but it involved a briefcase, and
Oh,
it
Cost of a Soul.
cost of a soul.
Yeah,
All right,
that was a Pulp Fiction moment in there.
what the hell was in the briefcase, or can you say, or did they even write in the script what was in that briefcase?
They didn't write what was in the script. What was in the script, what was in that briefcase is whatever in your imagination would cause you to go that far to get to that briefcase.
Hmm. So whatever was in that briefcase was basically the cost of your soul.
You
Wow.
know?
Whatever that may be.
Whatever that is. Yeah, everybody has their own thing. You know what I mean? So
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Because I was like, now wait a minute.
Yeah.
But
you, you
another
want them
another good film.
you want them to spell it out, right?
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes it's better to leave you to your own conclusions,
There you go. Yep. Yep.
because that's where the discussion starts.
Yep.
But what's next? What's next?
Well, I just got a couple things, because the pandemic has really changed a lot of stuff. But
Mhm.
I did a series and then the last I heard it was going to air. It's going to start airing on Peacock, November 10th. Uh,
Nice.
it's called The Calling. It was originally done when we first did it, when we were shooting. It was called The Missing, but since then they've changed it to The Calling.
Mhm.
It's a police drama. I don't want to give too much up, but I have a nice reoccurring role. It's they're formatting a lot of these series differently now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I think the first season is like 8 episodes. I think it is 8 to 10, and I know I'm in the first four, and then the next scenario takes place in the other episode. So they it's how like when you watch like Law and Order, each episode is about a different case. Well,
Yeah.
this the first case goes on for 4 episodes, and then the next case starts after that. You understand what I'm saying? So they
Okay.
don't, yeah. So um, it's funny because I was actually waiting to see a trailer. I haven't seen one yet, and I talked to one of the cast members today, and he said he had talked to someone who had just saw it, and because they're getting ready to do the press kit and all that kind of stuff, and
Hmm.
the guy said he loved it. So I'm like, okay, I can't wait to see this, man. I got a
That's
great
good.
role. I have a great role in this. It's really nice. I enjoyed this. Looking for that. And then it's funny, I have to go to a private screening, I guess you would call it, this weekend for an independent film that I did here, called the what's the name of it? One Gun. It's called One Gun, and it's a local low budget project that I did. A young director producer, Donnell Regustus, asked me to be a part of this project,
Hmm.
and a gentleman by the name of Ice. His real name is Roland Bailey. They call him Ice the Rapper. He's in the rap game. Uh, was the executive producer of the project, and so I
Okay.
got in there and got involved with the project, man, and I'm playing one of the leads in this. And then I I like the opportunity of it because it just gave me a chance to just really jump in on a role that I've been waiting to do anyway. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's kind of role that you know, kind of like a hardcore
Okay.
cop detective in the city. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, let me get in there and just really, show them what I'm working with. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I'm going to see a screening of it this weekend. I think it's just about completed. They've been working on it quite a bit to get it out and
Good.
get distribution ready for it. So I'm gonna go check that out this weekend, man. So that should be coming up pretty soon as well.
Okay. Beautiful. So
Yeah.
so where can people find you on social media?
Social media, I'm still you cracking
Trick
me.
question. Trick
Yeah, good
question.
question, brother. I mean, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Chris Mann Senior. I don't well, I go on TikTok to watch some videos and stuff on there, but I don't, I don't know. I guess I'm old school, man, I really I need some young folks to just take over and do my social media thing for me because I'm not, what I'm saying. I'm when I came up, it was all about the work and being consistent with the work. It wasn't about your social media presence and
Yeah.
who likes you and the smiles and the giggles and what I mean. It just wasn't about that. So ugh,
You fighting a losing battle, brother.
I'm a workhorse, man. Just
That
let
tide
me
is
work.
coming in.
Ain't that crazy? It's crazy. That just lets me know that I'm really getting up there. This gray ain't here for no reason, I guess.
Yeah. Oh shit, man. Look, you preach to the choir.
You know.
But I'm on all of them. I mean, and my wife's like, "Wow, what platform aren't you on?" I'm like, "Well, but it."
I gotta hang out with you, Floyd. That's what it is. I gotta hang out with Floyd
Hey, you know what, man?
and
Look,
make people be able to find me then, man.
look. If whenever, in all seriousness, whenever you want to talk about it, because it definitely does help. It
Mm,
really does to just basically extend your reach and to get more people to know who you are and exactly what it is you do, because I was very resistant forever to get on TikTok,
mm,
because when I would go on there, first of all, I'm not on there watching no booty shaking videos. I'm
no,
not on there watching all the other stuff.
no.
But my web manager, she was like, well, no, you do a lot of videos on, how to and what this and that. She's like, basically just post what you do
There you
and
go.
your audience will find you.
Mm,
And, you know, basically that's what I've been doing on TikTok. And it's interesting
okay.
because now my videos are slowly upticking in views. So
Mm,
let's say, for instance, I'm just going to take The Wire, for instance.
okay. Mm-hmm.
You have certain scenes in The Wire,
Mm-hmm.
or 30-second clip of The Wire up there on TikTok, and leave it alone.
Mm,
And just put up a little caption. This is me when I was doing a particular scene about that drug taste, blah, blah. And if you haven't watched The Wire, go check it out on such and such. You
that,
know,
yeah, so that's a good idea.
you
Now,
stay in your lane.
here's the question: is like how
Mhm.
much footage can I put up there without it being an infringement on somebody, on a production, on a network, and all that kind of stuff? You know what I mean?
Well, if it's public domain, it's not you're not infringing, because if you have footage from The Wire on YouTube or anything like that, you can actually share it.
Well, I mean, it's funny we're having this conversation because I
Mhm.
actually, I put a reel up on YouTube,
Mhm.
and then it'll play for a while, and then they say, oh, this person uh, claims a copyright because it's NBC property, and this
Right.
so they don't let you show it, or it's blocked in certain areas, and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. You know what I mean? So
Well, yeah, you're going to get that on Instagram, because I remember I did a couple of years ago when we were on, oh my gosh, the Q show.
oh yeah, yeah, I did the Q show. That's good.
And we actually taped um the segment where they were going to the commercial. So when
Yeah.
they went to the commercial, people were dancing in the studio. So I'm taping.
Okay.
And a couple of weeks later, I throw it up on Instagram.
Okay.
And a couple of weeks later, here they come. Oh,
Wow.
you got to take that down because you don't own the rights to that music. But it's a certain way you have to, even when you upload music to your reels, it's a certain way you have to do it,
Mm,
because that happened to me on YouTube. If you just throw it on there and you don't go through the proper channels,
mm.
they'll take it down and they'll say that's a copyright infringement. You know,
Look, see, somebody got to school me, man, because I get hit every time, man. I'm like,
wait a
pow.
minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You said your son is in the music game, correct?
Yeah,
How's his Instagram account?
yeah, but see, like that's all their own original music that they put up, though. See,
But he can basically show you how to do it. He can
mm,
basically show you how to share, your scenes where, someone's not taking it down. Because right now, if I found a clip of you in Michael Clayton, or if I found a clip of you in Homicide: Life on the Street, and
right.
it's online, I
Hmm.
could actually share it on Instagram and put and tag you in the video. Like, this is Chris Mann in Homicide: Life on the Street. See what I'm
Mm,
saying?
mm,
Anything that's actually out there and that's public domain, you can share it. You just have to do it. You just have to do it the right way. You just can't upload it and then take credit for it, like this is mine, whatever, because it belongs to someone.
Right.
But oftentimes those shows are happy that you're sharing it because you're giving it new life.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I mean, it, like, first of all, most of the stuff that are on the reels are projects that have already been released, and
Right.
television stuff has been in syndication for years now. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
what would be the problem? I don't get it. So I don't
There
know.
normally isn't a problem. And a lot of times actors share their reels from the things that they've been in,
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
no, you wouldn't, but I would definitely recommend you do that.
Mm. All right, I got to figure it out. Like I said, man, this is the part of the game that I didn't grow up in. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, yeah,
Right. Just the new world.
yeah.
Sink or swim. And again, you don't have to do it. You
Right,
could actually,
right.
because and I know we're getting ready to go, folks, but
I
I
know.
have two Instagram accounts. I have my personal, and then I have the one for the film festival. And I
Okay.
actually have a web manager who
Mm,
posts on my film account. She posts on my Facebook group where this podcast will actually be showing. And she
mhm.
also posts on my TikTok, and she posts for my LinkedIn.
Gotcha.
And I pay her every month, but
Mhm.
she has access to both of my accounts. You got to
Right.
get somebody that you can trust.
True.
She
Yeah.
has access to my accounts, and sometimes she'll post something, Chris, and it'll say your reel is ready to view. And I'm saying to myself, I didn't post anything. Then I was like, oh shit, that's right. She
Yeah.
posted it. But
Exactly.
but you know what? Anytime you have any questions, hit me up, and I'll be happy to help you in any way
Oh,
that I can.
I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, I do,
But
man. I do.
but back to the podcast.
Mhm.
It's been absolutely amazing having you on, brother, and you're definitely going to have to come back because I got to hit up Ball, and
Right.
we got to get you guys on here together because we have to. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to have you, Brian, and Nakia on, and we're going to have
Uh,
a wire talk.
oh man, the Three Stooges. We're
We
gonna
want
do
to
it.
have a wire talk. We're going to have a wire because actually you guys have done some things together.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, man. I enjoy working with them, both of them, man. I have a great time when I work with them, man. Good. Not only just talented people, they're just good people, man. You know what I mean?
Yes,
That's what you like to be around. That kind of company, that kind of energy, man, is wonderful, man.
but that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, I'm not going to take up any more of your time, brother. I truly appreciate you coming by and spending an hour of your time with me. I truly appreciate it. And
Thank
ladies and gentlemen, I truly hope that you've learned something tonight because you got it from somebody that's been in this game for a quarter of a century and has been in some absolutely amazing, amazing films. And if you like what you heard, please share it with your friends and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, what else? YouTube and
you
all that
too.
other good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I'm still learning, man. I'm still getting
You
this
know all
thing
of
down.
them. You know all of
but but
them.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to a conversation with. And as I always say, love this like a hobby, but please treat it like a business.
Amen.
Good night, everyone. Have a good one.